figure that out. I don't even. Luckily, I love kettlebells and I love you guys. So here, um, no nudity tonight. Fuck that. Like it would be better. It would be much better if it was. Then you wouldn't need to hear anything. It would just be visual. So now I don't understand which level this is even going. Mic auxiliary. Can you hear me now? Still hear me? Yeah. That's why, I mean, nobody needs nudity. You don't need sound. But talking, you absolutely need sound. So, let me see if I can go ahead. Does anybody want me to restart all this shit? Um, that's frustrating. All right. So the whole thing I was just talking about for 18 minutes was getting into kettlebell sport. And why I think it's for most people that are generally using kettlebells. Watching kettlebell sport could be insanely boring unless you know what it takes to get into it. How hard people are working, what it took for them to get to that competition. There's so much. Okay. Yeah, there's just so much that goes into work for someone to stand up on stage and do up to 10 minutes of kettlebell sport. Now, let's go to the basics. So, traditionally 10 minutes, okay? You have traditionally up to 10 minutes. Now, everybody's freaked out about trying to get to 10 minutes. Personally, when I first competed, I didn't give a shit whether I made 10 minutes or not. That's me. What I wanted to do, the goal was to get the most amount of reps, right? So I knew I had to do that in up to 10 minutes. So when there's been times that I've done more reps than other people I was next to in 8 minutes. So if you're a sprinter or that's your type of stuff, I mean, that's what you should roll with. Do what works best for you. Just know that traditionally, kettlebell sport is up to 10 minutes. So if you're a CrossFit athlete, 10 minute, as many reps as possible, and that's your time cap. So the hard part about kettlebell sport is why a lot of people have not got into it or don't want to get into it is because it's not just how many reps you can do that in 10 minutes. You have only one hand switch to do it in. Now, that is what's so incredibly hard. That is what is so limiting for so many people. I'm going to see if I can check this. But yeah, that's what's so limiting personally for myself as well. Check. Nope, can't hear anything in there. Cool. Just going to throw all this stuff away. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. Here it is. Kettlebell. Okay, so here's the thing. Periodization for barbell, it's absolutely different. It's so incredibly different than it's almost like running. Okay, so you're using sub-maximal weights. So periodization for that on strength is not going to be really a crossover for that. I think Israel and RP Strength has some great information, but it's for bodybuilding and for strength, okay? Hypertrophy, I mean, if you look at me, I'm like much bigger than some of these people that compete. And that's a hindrance to some degree. So I'm trying to get down, I'm 220 pounds. I've actually dropped nearly 10 pounds. I'm trying to get down to 205 because even though I've put up my best numbers in snatch recently at Worlds, I feel like my midsection has so much more mass around there, and it's harder for me to breathe and do that long stuff. If I can get deeper lung volume, because my rib cage is so tight, that's the thing. Like I have a smaller skeletal system than a lot of people, so I have shorter structure, like my legs. I have a longer torso, so it looks like my muscle might be bigger than some people just by the side, muscle belly, all that stuff. But anyway, um, I still train for hypertrophy, and it's just a different thing. Like, so I guess you would. I follow people that I want to kind of either perform like or look like. Okay, and that's what when I used to bodybuild, I followed people that I wanted to look like. I didn't care what weights they lifted because that didn't matter. You're not standing on a bodybuilding stage lifting weights. So when I did well doing in bodybuilding, it's because I did stuff that was incredibly different. I looked different because I did things that were different. That's the thing, is you have all these people that are taking the same drugs, eating the same style nutrition, and training exactly the same. They're all going to look pretty much identical. The only thing that's going to separate is some genetics or their stress management. That's one of the biggest things out there. So what do you think a 10-minute kettlebell sport set, if you train that all the time, once again, it's your hands, it's your grip, it's your forearms, it's your elbow, it's the tendonitis you're trying not to get. So one of my biggest things about getting into kettlebell sport is to take care of the repetitions. Because yeah, you're not lifting a lot of heavy weight, but I'm telling you right now, 53 pounds gets really rough once you start getting over 50 reps in a row, okay? So I like to train. It's nearly impossible for me to remember what I have said sans mic to right now. So I apologize for this, but we're just going to fucking ramble. So if you want to send some questions, that'd be way cool. No nudity tonight. I know people are pissed. There's no sound, no nudity. What the hell? But anyway, yeah, so first things first, if you wanted to get into kettlebell sport. So if people like my programs, I do have an intro to kettlebell sport. That's neither here nor there. I can help you if you want. But the biggest thing is, you got your mind made up, you want to try it. Cool. So don't get stuck in thinking you have to do 10 minutes and that's it. And if you can't get 10 minutes, you're not going to make it. Because I know people that start with kettlebell sport that couldn't do 10 guys that couldn't do 10 minutes in a row. CrossFit athletes, they couldn't do 10 minutes in a row with one hand switch with a 26-pound kettlebell. So don't worry about it. We're just going to start. Okay, we're going to start going up there. Find a possible goal and don't give yourself a month. Like, to say you're going to do a kettlebell sport competition in a month and never having done one is just ridiculous. Give yourself space it out for like a minimum, okay? 6 months. So if you say right now, what is it? Let's just say by next March, I want to do a kettlebell sport competition. Write it on your calendar. Break down into some microcycles for this. And then say, hey, this month I'm going to do this month I'm going to do this month I'm going to do this. And then between that, then you can start coming up with how you want to do your workouts. So that's when you start getting a plan. But once again, just don't let it ruin you. It's the one hand switch. It's kind of like when people are doing powerlifting and they're growing really, really rapidly, but their joints and their discs and ligaments, tendon strength maybe hasn't caught up yet. So sometimes you see people that are getting into stuff really, really quickly. Their strength increases and other stuff increases very rapidly when they first start. Now, here's why. It's a neurological connection. You're learning the movement and you're getting better at performing the movement, not just the weight, okay? So that's why you see beginners go at a very fast pace of increasing weight at a certain point. Is because they're just getting better at the form. Once you kind of top out, plateau a little bit, that's when you start training a little bit differently, when you're actually building not just coordination, but building strength, building muscle, okay, that is applying more force, stuff like that. Your recuperation has to be a little bit more, has to be better. But once you have that, and you know when you want to compete, that's cool. So we just got to find a way that works the best for you. Whether maybe, like I said, maybe you should not do clean and jerk. Okay, clean and jerk is called long cycle, and it's long cycle doesn't mean how long you're doing it. Okay, long cycle means clean and jerk in kettlebell speak. Okay, so I've competed at long cycle several times. I believe I hit CMS in practice, and I missed it 3 weeks later by 1 rep in competition. With in long cycle, 228 kilogram bells. Now I've got CMS in a triathlon, which is a different style. That brings me to that other question. There's traditional 10-minute sets. There's half marathon and marathon, which allow you to change your arms. And there's also triathlon, which is coming. There's Bolt, there's pentathlon, all these different ones that coaches and professionals have tried to come up with over the last, how long it's been out. What got me into it was I didn't want to do 10 minutes. It was just I was not in the cards. I wanted strength. So there was a thing called Valery Fedorenko called Strong Sport. And I have a bunch of videos on here of me using, 40s and up for single arm long cycle, clean and jerk, and I loved it, but no one does it anymore. He doesn't do it anymore, so the WKC closed up, so he doesn't do that anymore. But that's what started. That's what I first got into kettlebell sport doing, was single arm, very heavy, clean and jerk. The max on that was 4 minutes, one hand switch. So you got to switch it too. Now that was cool for me. I loved it. But then I slowly started getting into doubles and things like that. But anyway, so you gotta find the thing that you like, and let's play with that at first. If you're not good at jerk, don't try to do biathlon. Just do snatch. Find snatch only. Rip it out. Get really, really good at something. Use your strengths to help motivate you. Okay, so kettlebell sport. Then start kind of sprinkling in some of the other stuff. And then we got to find your training program. How often? Recovery is incredibly important. You're not going to be able to train all the time with your hands. So when I train snatch, I don't even know if I told you this. I rarely ever did 10-minute sets. Hardly ever. Even though when I competed for up to a 10-minute set. Because I'm better at sprinting, I'm better at strength, I'm a bigger person. The reason why I stopped doing long cycle is I have a long torso and shorter limbs. So my legs are very powerful. My mobility in my shoulder is very good for a bigger guy. It's not as great as it should be for kettlebell sport. You see people resting overhead. Resting in my rack position, the weight should be down towards your hips. That's why when you see people that look like question marks when they're resting in the rack, they can. I can't. And some of us bigger people or long torso people will never be able to get their elbows down to rest on the belt or the hips. So that could be something that you may not want to do long cycle or clean or jerk. But snatch is fine because the rest in snatch is overhead. So you can do that. Trying to think other stuff. Questions, leave them over there because I literally have no clue of what I've said or not with this. So probably going to jet real soon because I'm really hungry. But yeah, if you have any questions, I do have an intro to kettlebell sport video series. It's on this channel. So you could go over there and just type in intro to kettlebell sport. It goes over clean. It goes over all the stuff. Jerks, snatches, all the things. Um, Actually tired from talking so much. Um, I can't believe that mic. That's ridiculous. So irritating. So anyway, I don't see any other questions down there. Um, here's one thing. So I really want to thank everybody. I just noticed this is climbing up in our subscribers, but yeah, no problem, Dan. Thanks for hanging out. Um, shoot over other questions and I can get to you. Go to kbmuscle.com and leave some in the chat. That chat's always on and it goes to my phone and email that I can get to later. But what was I just saying? Oh yeah. So this channel is gotten pretty big. Thank you so much. You're here, seeing that. My Instagram, I just realized today it hit 20,000 friends, followers, whatever, and I'm so happy about that because I don't put out a bunch of flashy junk. That means everybody that's coming there is usually staying for knowledge and wanting to learn stuff and wanting to pass things, good stuff on. I love that. I love when people tag me and say, here's what I've been doing. I've been trying your stuff. And then, because, I mean, if I see it, I'm going to give you some advice. Probably whether you want it or not. But anyway, yeah. Numbers at kbmuscle.com. That's my main form of income. Is at kbmuscle.com. So everybody that's over there, stop by here and there. I'm always adding articles in the blog, and I just put up a really big one recently just about well, basically like cleans and hand insertion, stuff like that. Grip, because that's what kettlebell's about. Kettlebell sport is literally about grip endurance, whether you're doing clean and jerk or doing snatch. So if you don't have that dialed in, it's going to be very, very hard. So the recent thing that I put up there is all about how to improve grip, endurance, strength, coordination, control, all that stuff. So once again, like I said, sorry for tonight, everybody that was here earlier. That mic just jacked up, so I don't know what's up with it. It was working really well until recently, so I'm gonna take off and rest. So no exercising for me today, except I helped put up a fence. I helped clean up some filters at my flotation tank business, and I'm soaked in sweat, so I'm just gonna consider that just a whatever activity day. So no mountain biking for me, no kettlebell stuff for me today. But I'm gonna take off here. Thanks everybody. Appreciate your support so much. It means everything. Talk to you later.